we may only be in October, right? But I'm doing a video about a potential new manager at the club to replace Lopetegui. I mean, it is crazy. Crazy. I mean, only at West Ham. Only at West Ham can it get this, circus-like. It's remarkable, isn't it? Remarkable. I did a video yesterday talking about the relationship between Tim Steidten and Lopetegui. Basically, they're at war with one another now. There is a clear all-out war. A lot of finger-pointing going on at the club. And in that video, I was talking about how Lopetegui had thrown mud towards Steidten by saying, I want a new striker. Basically saying, you failed. You've brought me in this German international striker, in Niklas Füllkrug, and it's been a disaster. And he's, you know what? He's got a point. He's got a bloody point. Of course he has. He's got every right to be pissed off about it. And then you've got Tim Steidten, who's doing the same again with him, because I'm not necessarily saying that Steidten's leaked this information or suggested this, but he's certainly not stopping it. And I'm referring here to a post it was from Florian Platterberg of Sky Sports, Germany. So he put up a tweet, and it was regarding our former assistant, actually, who's worked for Slaven Bilic, in Edin Terzic, who was at Borussia Dortmund, got in the Champions League final. And I talked about it in the video yesterday, actually, saying that I wanted to discuss this a little bit more, because I think it needs to be talked about. I mean, I hate the fact we're in this conversation already, but I feel like it needs to be discussed. I mean, I want to get it right, that we're here to talk about West Ham topics, all right? And this is a topic that's going on at the moment. So this isn't a video to say, yeah, this is going to happen. I can't imagine West Ham sacking Lopetegui at the moment and wanting any change, but I think they're going to try and give him a bit more time and things to settle down. But things don't look good. I mean, let's get it right. Things do not look good. And Terzic makes sense, actually. I actually think this would be an appointment that would tick quite a lot of boxes for West Ham. I really do. But I think there needs to come with also some warnings with it as well, because he's not the sort of out-and-out exciting manager in terms of style of football, though. I think that needs to be made it very clear. Although he's young and he's done very well, I think if you look at how he did at Borussia Dortmund, which, by the way, was amazing, he did really, really well. But I think because they didn't win the league that year, it was the year that Bayer Leverkusen won it last season. That was not good for him, and it cost him dearly. And he needed to win the Champions League really to retain his job. But they didn't like his style of football over there. They didn't like the fact he was too defensive, that he was too counter-attack mindset. That's why he wasn't really like that. I mean, he is sort of like a son of them, by the way. They love him for that reason, but the style of football was too pragmatic. It wasn't exciting enough for him. It was just too wanting to get results. Now, that might sound a little bit Moyes-esque. I don't think it's as bad as that. I think that the situation is, because if you consider Borussia Dortmund a massive monster club in Germany, a club that they're expected to win most of their games. So it's almost like managing a Manchester United. If you're a Manchester United manager and all you did was just defend and nick a game 1-0, then they wouldn't like it. Although they might be doing well, they wouldn't like it. The fans go, well, Man United, we want to go. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like that kind of big club thing. And that's what they've got going on over there. They're a big, big club, Dortmund. And I think that's what's held him back. Whereas I don't think he'd get that at West Ham. I don't think we're West Ham fans. We want to see decent football, but I think we're realistic as well. We do know that we're not one of the best teams in the league. We're not a top 3 or 4 side. A lot of games in the season, we do have to be quite pragmatic and careful where we play, because we haven't got, we can't go to Man City and go toe to toe, because we just won't be able to cope with it. We're going to have to try and win and get a result another way. So I don't think it actually would be too bad for us. Also, I think he ticks the box of that young manager. I don't know about you, it's something I'm craving. I remember when Bilic got appointed, and the excitement of having him at the club. I just loved having Bilic at West Ham. 2015, wasn't it? He came in, and it was just a breath of fresh air. That bond he had with the players, and just that it just united the whole club. And I know it's because he had played for West Ham as well, which did help. But don't forget that Terzic as well was at West Ham. He worked with Bilic, and he just comes across like a real personable, real decent guy. And I actually do think that if West Ham are to change Lopetegui, which I don't think is far fetched, I'm not suggesting it's not going to happen. I do feel like that's the path we're on at the moment. Terzic for me would be a good appointment, and as well, I hate saying this, but also it helps as well that he's out of work because that would attract Sullivan. I actually do think there's something in that, but I also think, as I said in the video yesterday, that this could have been put to bed. This could have been quashed by Tim Steidten quite easily. This story could easily have just put it to bed. He could, could have spoke to Fabrizio Romano, even Flatterberg, whatever. Could have spoke to them and just said, "Look, this isn't actually happening. We're standing fully behind Lopetegui. He's our head coach. We've got high aspirations this season." He could have done all that spiel, and we're not getting any of that. He's not getting any backing. Lopetegui, none. I think that is enough to show you what's going on at West Ham at the moment. That there is a real big issue between Steidten and Lopetegui. I talked about it in the video yesterday. And of course, there's the other managers we're getting linked with. Gareth Southgate. Bloody hell. Imagine that. Oh, dear. You know what I mean? Do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me. XWHU employee talked about it in the podcast. He said it wouldn't surprise me. That really would not be a surprise appointment for him. He would tick a lot of boxes for David Sullivan. He's got that sort of experience in top flight in English football. He's England manager. He would see it as a big, big tick. But I mean, bloody hell! Can you imagine being Southgate, going from working with the FA, the highly respected, industry and body of football, then being your bosses, then going to work for David Sullivan. Bloody hell, that'd be a bit of a culture shock for him. But so for me, as I say, Terzic actually would be one that I actually would get behind. I actually think would be quite a let's say wise move, quite a ballsy one as well. Like, a player. Clearly he's done well in his career. If you look at Terzic's career, he has done really well. He was at Dortmund for a long time. They love him over there. I think even it was, if you look back at his record, I think he worked at some point. He was behind the scenes as well. He was like, I don't know if it was a director of football role or scouting role, whatever he was, but he was firmly behind the scenes there. He sort of worked his way up into the club. Obviously, he came to West Ham, worked under Bilic. He was highly regarded. And then obviously went back and did remarkably well for his age. I mean, we're talking, 40 years or something like that? I think he's very young. And then gone and taken that side to the Champions League final. The only thing that really knackered him was that he didn't win the league because Bayern Munich had a bad season. But then for Leverkusen to go and win it, I just feel like that cocked him, really. I think that was a nail in his coffin to say that they were that bad, but we didn't even get second that season. I think that cocked him a little bit. As I say, I think if he'd have won the Champions League, I think he'd have stayed on there. I think they'd have kept him, but because they sort of walked away empty-handed. I think he won the German Cup, if I remember rightly. I think he might have won something there. But anyway, I'm sort of got off the top of my head here. But still, I think it would be that. West Ham needs something exciting to happen if we're going to get rid of Lopetegui, then that's what we need to do. Because I don't know about you, right? I just feel like we're on that path. We are really firmly on the path of losing Lopetegui. I don't see how he survives this. Bearing in mind as well, I think it's quite important when you think of Lopetegui is that he's got a track record of walking away from football clubs. He walked away from Real Madrid. There's an issue with Real Madrid. He walked away from Wolves. It was. He's had a real track record of falling out. Obviously he had the issue with the manager of Spain. But, he went at Wolves. He felt like the transfer policy didn't suit what was promised him. And he just went, no, I'm not going to. I think he likes to try and keep his reputation intact. And he must be thinking, if this is for him, this job at West Ham. And I actually, like I said earlier, I feel for him. I do actually feel for the guy. I do feel for him because I feel like this is the job he's been dreaming of, isn't it? He's been talking about when he left the Wolves job, he stayed in England, he wanted to study. He knew he was coming to West Ham. He knew he was firmly of the group. And I think that's what doesn't help him as well. He talked about how he watched West Ham every game and he was studying West Ham and he's then been working all summer with Steidten to bring all his players in. And look at the dross we're getting. He doesn't really add up. And there's no, for what I can see, there's no areas to be optimistic about when you watch West Ham play at the moment. There's just so many issues that I'm struggling to sort of grasp anything positive to come out of any of it. It's not good. It really isn't good. But yeah, so that's where we are with that. I feel like Turk is the one that's going to be the, or Terzic, should I say, will be the one that comes to West Ham. This is the tweet, by the way, from Plattenberg. He said, former Borussia Dortmund coach Edin Terzic is a candidate in case West Ham decide to replace manager Julen Lopetegui. The 41-year-old has a good reputation, 41, at West Ham, where he worked from 2015 to 2017 as an assistant coach under Slaven Bilic. Terzic is open to a new challenge. He's also received interest from AC Milan, and he's been in contact with their advisor, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I mean, it's an interesting advisor to have, isn't it? So this is what came back from X, by the way, on this. He said, it's natural that Terzic has been linked with West Ham. He's been at the club when we had Bilic in charge and also was a popular figure. However, I must stress at this point that the club are continuing to back Lopetegui to turn this poor start to the season around. And this is the bit that's interesting because I was talking about the Stuyvesant situation. It appears that some within the club are aiming to undermine Lopetegui, which is doing nothing whatsoever to help in the current situation. That's clearly aimed at Tim Stuyvesant. There's no two ways about it. This is a real big problem. I talked about in the previous video that it really is. But yeah, never a dull moment, is it, West Ham? Never a bloody dull moment. Let's just hope that we can start seeing some positivity at this club, because at the moment it's not. But yeah, Terzic for me. I'd like to know your thoughts on it. Do you know what? If we do decide to part ways with Lopetegui, as I've said, it would not surprise me at all if we do. Terzic for me, I think would be a very, very good choice. Come on, you irons.